21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Gold is one of the best performing assets already of 2024. And many analysts believe that the value of gold will continue to increase. In this episode, we'll discuss what's driving the gold price higher and what are the fundamentals that you should be aware of when it comes to buying or selling physical gold, exchange-traded funds, or gold mining shares, which are the traditional ways to buy and sell gold either on paper or physically. Hi, I'm Dana Samuelson, president of American Gold Exchange in Austin, Texas. This is my 44th year in the gold markets and the 25th year American Gold Exchange has been in business. We're a national, physical, precious metals mail order dealer out of Austin, Texas. Few people in the country have handled more physical gold over the years than I have. So I'm happy to help you with any questions you may have regarding physical gold or vintage gold coins from when gold was currency back in the day, prior to World War II. Gold has been climbing in price, primarily driven by several major fundamental factors. Number one is the global explosion of debt. It's not so much that gold is gaining so much in value, it's that the purchasing power of fiat currencies that are backed by nothing more than political promises in reality are losing purchasing power. So that's really the fundamental driver of gold. Gold also has an inverse correlation to the value of the dollar internationally and to interest rates or treasury yields. If you can get a good yield on your money, why would you invest in something that doesn't produce a yield, which gold does not? And unusually, over the last month or so, gold has been climbing at a record rate at the same time that treasury yields and the dollar have been gaining value internationally. So what else is going on? Well, we've got the oil price has been rising. Oil's over $90 a barrel, and that's due to the conflict in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas, and now Israel and Iran, which has escalated. So that's the fourth factor that's driving the gold price is geopolitical fear. So the fear of expanded conflict between Iran and Israel is helping to really drive the gold price right now. Gold tends to climb a wall of worry, and there's a lot to worry about in the world right now, sadly. But that's the way it's always been, and that's the way our market is. So these are the fundamental factors that affect the gold price. And I forgot another major one, of course, inflation. So we have sticky inflation in the U.S. that won't go away. So while the U.S. economy is doing fairly well, the U.S. dollar and treasury yields are doing fairly well, the other factors of debt, inflation, and geopolitical conflict are really coming together to drive the gold price to all-time highs. And silver is playing catch up as well. Silver is less than half its previous peak price. Actually, it's about half of its previous peak price, while gold is at all-time highs. So if you're a new investor and you're interested in these markets, silver is an excellent way to get started. So if you want to participate in the precious metals markets, there's 3 ways you can do that. One of the ways is to invest in the companies that actually mine gold and silver. So you require some expertise to do this intelligently, and you really need an advisor to help you. I am not a mining stock expert. You have to be knowledgeable about the quality of the deposit that's in the ground, how accessible it is, and you also have to understand how good or how bad the management of the company that is running the business is. So these are the factors that affect the profitability of a mining stock. Another way to participate in the market is through exchange traded funds or ETFs like GLD for gold or SLV for silver. These are easy ways for you to harness the price movement of gold or silver on paper, just like you would buy a stock or sell a stock. But it's not like actually owning the physical metal, which is what I am really a consummate expert in, is the physical metals. So I deal in modern gold coins minted by sovereign mints, which are really just round bars, and bars are made by private refineries. Also, I deal in vintage coins that were currency or money back in the day prior to the advent of fiat currency in the 70s, when the US went off of the gold standard and the dollar was no longer backed by anything. So in the physical products, you have to have a blank that is made to exacting specifications for purity and weight, and then there's a design imparted into it. It's either poured or struck, and then it has to be shipped. It has to be, a dealer has to make a profit. So the buy-sell pricing on a physical product is a bit higher and wider than you would get on a paper product, which has no metal content, like an ETF share. So the buy-sell spread between an ounce of gold is about 4% between the bid price and the offer price. And for an ounce of silver, it's about $2. So these are not really trading vehicles, but these are excellent ways to save your valuable earnings, to have a savings account. What would you rather own as a savings account? Gold, which is an inflation hedge, or a dollar, which continues to lose its purchasing power every year, especially when inflation's running at 3.5% or more, which is what we've seen over the last several years. So that's really what gold and silver can be, is a way for you to save money outside of the dollar, outside of the banking system. So you have a nest egg in precious metals that will resist the debasement of the traditional currency by increased debt or inflation. So that's really the best way for you as investors to think about gold and silver. It's a way to save money outside of the banking system and outside of the dollar, which is going to continue to be devalued over time. I realize that most of you are entrepreneurs, and I'm an entrepreneur as well. In my business, I cater to as many prospective clients as possible. So I deal in the products that are the most popular, competitively priced, and widely traded. Now that puts me into a very competitive market, which means I have to be sharp at what I do, but I love what I do. And I know most entrepreneurs truly love what they do. And what I've found in my business is I've grown my business organically. I've not tried to really be aggressive in growing the business, but I've grown out my business as it grew naturally. I added employees and overhead as I could afford it responsibly, so that my business didn't get too far ahead of itself. And my business tends to go into kind of feast and famine mode. So when things are good, they're great, but when they're not so good, they're really not good. And I never really wanted to let people off or fire people because finding good people is the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur. Finding good people and keeping them. So my staff is a little leaner than it might be normally, but I've got a very loyal group of people around me who've stayed with me for years, and we've built basically a family here. And that's really what I would recommend to entrepreneurs. You really want to think about who you are surrounding yourself. You want to find the best talent that you can find, but you also want to find the people and the personalities that suit you well and hire your weaknesses. Naturally, as an entrepreneur, you're strong at doing something, but you may not be so strong at doing something else you need. So hire your weakness to the best of your ability. And my thought process 25 years ago when I started my company was, I'm going to spend more waking hours with the people around me in my office than I'm going to spend with my own family. So I wanted people around me that I really liked and enjoyed being with and that I trusted. And that's what I've done. And it's created a really loyal team, which is what you need to grow a business, a team. And you want a loyal team. You want a happy team. And these are the advice points that I can give you as entrepreneurs. I've been in these markets for 44 years, and I really wanted to be my own boss, so I started my own company 25 years ago. The thing that was the most important aspect to me was retaining my clients. And as an entrepreneur, the way that you keep people coming back to do business with you is you treat them fairly and you tell them the truth so they trust you. And that's how we've grown our business organically, through trust and reliability. Now, having been in this business for almost 40 years, I'm in a position where I can finally give back. And one of the ways I've done that is by joining or being invited to join the Professional Numismatist Guild, which is the leading organization of rare coin dealers in the country. I served on their board of directors for 12 years, and I was president for 2 of those 12 years. It was during that time it came to my attention that the Chinese were knocking off or counterfeiting some of the modern bullion precious metals items that are available in the marketplace. So I conceived of and helped to establish the industry anti-counterfeiting task force, which today works with Homeland Security and Secret Service to interdict shipments of fake precious metals items coming into the US from China. This is a way that I can not only, one, give back, but help to protect our industry. And it's kind of funny that one of the handbag manufacturers in Italy called us up as precious metals dealers and said, how did you get the Secret Service involved? We've been trying to get them involved for 30 years from counterfeiting our bags. Well, it helps if the Chinese are counterfeiting something the US Mint is making instead of being a private manufacturer. And another way I've tried to give back is, our business is unregulated, which is why it's very important that you find someone that you can trust to deal with. And I'm also an expert witness for the government in 2 separate cases where they are alleging that a couple of dealers have been fraudulent with their clients. And I am giving my time, I'm being compensated for it, but I'm giving my time to try and help weed out some elements that may not be the best ones in our industry. And I'm doing that because it's the right thing to do. Good people come into our marketplace, and if they get involved with the wrong dealer, they may not ever come back to our business. So we've always tried to be fair and competitive. It helps me in the long run, and it helps my clients in the short run. And that's what I would encourage every entrepreneur to do. Just do the right thing. The good thing about being an entrepreneur and your own businessman is that your chances of achieving profits are greater than you might if you worked for somebody. The question is, what are you going to do with those earnings that you retain, that you want to keep? And I strongly advise you to have at least 5 or 10% of those hard-earned gains in gold and silver. And I'm talking about physical gold and silver, because once you have that as your nest egg, it's something that you can sell if you need to raise cash very easily. Gold and silver are among the most sellable liquid items there are on the planet. Find a reliable dealer you can do business with. We're one of the most reliable dealers in the country. My reputation precedes me in my 44 years in business, and our reputation at American Gold Exchange is one of the best in the industry for competitive pricing, reliability, and great advice. We really want to help our clients. So what we do is we act in a consultative nature, which is we'll ask you, what are your goals? What are your desires? Why are you investing in this market? Might you want to sell at some point in time? Is this something you want to hand down to your heirs? Because gold fundamentally is transferable, portable wealth. A lot of value can fit in a very small space, and it's private. Gold also has no counterparty risk. Its value is not contingent upon someone paying the mortgage or a company producing profits. It is an asset unto itself, which is why a lot of central banks are buying a lot of gold today, because they understand when they turn the printing presses on and create a lot of debt out of thin air, some of their trading partners may default on them. So that's why they're buying gold at record amounts. And you can Google this and you'll see central banks are buying gold at record amounts. And these are the most conservative bankers out there on the planet. And I think that it's good advice to follow what the biggest bankers in the world are doing, which is to own some gold. Now that's what my business is. American Gold Exchange, www.amergold.com, has live, transparent pricing on the most widely traded and competitively priced modern bullion items made by the US Mint, the Canadian Mint, the Austrian Mint, and refineries out of Switzerland, Valcambi for one and Pamp Swiss for another. These are items that are sellable anywhere. And they're also the ones that are the most widely recognized. We deal in these, and if you're new and you don't have a lot of disposable income, like I said, silver is a much better way to get started. You have a much lower price point. Opportunistically, it is a better metal to own for potential profit. And it's also used highly in electrical vehicles and solar panels. So there's a lot of demand for silver because of the green movement, which will help to drive the price higher over time. So if you're interested in learning more about the physical precious metals, please visit our website or send an email to info@amergold.com, and we'll be happy to help you. We can send you our Getting Started Guide, which is a basic 10-page pamphlet that'll explain the basics to you of the products, the pricing, and what the do's and the don'ts are in the marketplace.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.